Hi, I'm Peter McCann, a Northern correspondent with the Irish Farmers Journal. We're at a conference in Portadown in County Armagh today, organised by the Farmers Journal and Ulster Farmers Union, just discussing the future of the Northern Ireland dairy industry and some of the challenges and opportunities that could potentially lie ahead for us. One of the speakers was Michael Haverty. He's a senior agricultural economist with the Anderson Centre. Michael, I suppose in your talk, you talk about Brexit. There's been a lot written about Brexit, and I suppose a lot remains unknown.
Indeed.
What are the specific concerns for the Northern Ireland dairy industry as the Brexit talks go on?
I think there are a number of areas, but for me, I think one of the key ones, and was shown in the data here today, was with regards to cross-border trade. If you compare Northern Ireland and the output from Northern Ireland dairy produce vis-a-vis the rest of the UK or GB, it is significantly more exposed to trade with the Republic of Ireland, but also with the EU 26 countries as well. So how that gets navigated post-Brexit versus GB, where over 90% of the output is produced and consumed within the UK itself, that's an important concern, and a concern that needs to be highlighted both at Westminster and within Brussels as well. So that, of course, is a key concern. Support for the industry is also important, and how that evolves in the years ahead. Again, another concern for the industry, not just up to 2022, but also beyond that as well. And within that, of course, how much access Northern Ireland agriculture and the dairy sector in particular has across border, both within the rest of the EU, but also the rest of the world as well, I think is an issue that needs to be front and centre at people's minds.
In your talk, you touched on the border and some of the potential things we could have there for movements and come on both sides. So if the UK government sticks with the plan to leave the customs union and leave the single market, what are the potential options for the border to keep trade as frictionless as possible, as they say?
I think it's quite difficult, and especially when you try to square that circle with, no physical infrastructure on the border, that is a big challenge. What I've mentioned today with regards to the border zone, or setting Northern Ireland up as a special economic zone, is one way where you can perhaps minimise those. And what I mean by that is designate the whole of Northern Ireland within 100 miles of the border, like what they do within the US, and potentially do the same in the Republic of Ireland as well, so that the official controls, customs checks can be performed anywhere within that zone, might be a way to go with that. So if we take a practical example, going from Monaghan up to Dungannon, for instance, the point of crossing in Ochnacloy, as frictionless as possible. You might need a camera up there to read the number plate that's going across the border. But then it's when you go to the plant at Dungannon, that's where the official controls and checks get taken place. Now, it's not straightforward to implement that. EU official controls as it stands at the moment for products of animal origin, those inspections need to be performed at the point of crossing the border. Those are going to need to be changed, or perhaps you get a derogation to address the situation in Northern Ireland and the Irish Republic. But it's to places like this that people will need to go and investigate what solutions might be potentially available. That's one way to address it. I've also heard about setting up a free trade area within the island of Ireland as well. Perhaps that's another area to go to. But for Northern Ireland, we do need to also take into consideration that the GB market is Northern Ireland's most important market at the end of the day. And you don't want to be erecting barriers between Northern Ireland and GB either, because that's also going to impinge upon the performance of Northern Ireland Dairy PLC. So perhaps this border zone concept is a way that you can at least start to navigate that.
So just on the British market, is that an opportunity for Northern Ireland dairy industry, given that we can tap straight into that with no, regardless of how Brexit negotiations go, we can get into the British market? And what other opportunities are there?
Okay, with regards to the UK or the GB market, yes, it is an opportunity. It's very much contingent upon the degree of access that the likes of the Republic of Ireland or the EU 26 countries get post-Brexit. But there is, of course, an opportunity there for Northern Ireland, particularly if there's no transaction costs or trade facilitation costs at the border, which there will be. Those customs checks, physical controls, even under a free trade agreement, there will be some of those between the Republic of Ireland and GB. So that is an opportunity for Northern Ireland. Outside of that, Other countries in the rest of the world, yes, there are opportunities there, but it does take time to build those up. And it's important that quite a lot of work gets undertaken with regards to export health certification, be that DEFRA, be that the new Department for International Trade. There's work that they can start doing now, particularly within meat, which I'll probably be most familiar with regards to what can be done to build those new markets elsewhere. And that's an area of focus, but that doesn't come fast. Getting access to China, as you probably know, has been quite difficult. In the Republic of Ireland, they're further along the line in that regard than Northern Ireland. It takes a bit of time, but yes, long term, there are opportunities around that.
Michael Haverty, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.